Hello, you're listening to Abstract AF. I'm Sneha Jaiswal, and I'm going to be talking about Netflix's The Fall of the House of Usher, a series that has filled my horror-obsessed heart with a lot of joy. Based on Edgar Allan Poe's famous Gothic short story, the 2023 series created by Mike Flanagan should be a hit with those who loved his previous works, especially The Haunting of Hill House. The 8-episode series starts with a somber funeral in a grand church with only a handful of people sitting in the pews, despite 3 coffins in display. The opulence of the church contrasts with the meager attendance at the service, setting the tone for this tragic horror story about the billionaire Usher family, led by twins Roderick and Madeline. They lose their entire second generation, which consists of 6 siblings, within a matter of a few days. And the death strike amidst an ongoing lawsuit against the medical empire called Fortunato for grossly fraudulent practices which allegedly result in thousands of deaths of patients using their pills. So the central theme of The Fall of the House of Usher is about how excessive greed and ambition can entirely corrupt an individual. The first episode is titled A Midnight Dreary, the words borrowed from the opening line of Poe's poem The Raven. And this episode lays the foundation for the horror thriller as Roderick agrees to confess to U.S. Attorney Auguste Dupin, the man leading the case against the Ushers. The aging Bruce Greenwood as Roderick Usher serves as an excellent narrator for the series. He begins his stories from the 1950s, gradually revealing how he and his sister went from rags to extraordinary riches and why his descendants began to perish one by one. The next 6 episodes then focus on the death of the 6 of the Usher siblings, who were also Roderick's kids, while episode 8 wraps up the series with a chilling conclusion that mirrors the original short story by Edgar Allan Poe. Visually, The Fall of the House of Usher is Mike Flanagan's most diverse-looking work yet, since the timeline ranges from the 1950s to 2023, giving the creative team decades of aesthetics to work with. While the series is rife with Gothic elements like crumbling old homes, ghastly spectres, gory deaths, and mutilated animals, and of course, ominous symbolism like ravens, crows, and black cats, it also has plenty of brightly lit, lively scenes and modern motifs. However, for the most part, the cinematography is warm with lots of orange hues pervading the screen, which is typical of many horror movies and thrillers of this genre. The ensemble cast, which includes many familiar faces from Mike Flanagan's previous works, come together like little pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. They're all really good in their part. Carla Gugino is sinister and mysterious as the often masked woman who haunts Roderick and stalks the Usher family like death itself. Bruce Greenwood as the tormented Fortunato CEO with several dirty secrets up his sleeves keeps you hooked to every word he says. Meanwhile, Mary McDonnell is intriguing in her role as his shrewd, calculating twin Madeline. However, it's Willa Fitzgerald who plays the younger Madeline in the flashbacks, who delivers a more powerful portrayal of the mastermind behind Roderick's phenomenal success. The most intriguing supporting character in the series is this man called Arthur Pym, portrayed by Mark Hamill, who's like a one-man legal powerhouse of the Ushers. He's always cleaning up their mess and meticulously orchestrating their moves. I really enjoyed watching the competitive rivalry among the 6 Usher siblings, each eager to impress their father Roderick and the world, giving viewers an amusing look at how large, wealthy families function. Henry Thomas plays the eldest sibling, Frederick Usher, who simply mimics his dad, lacks an independent mind, and is derisively referred to by the rest of his siblings as Froderick. Samantha Sloyan plays Tamar Lane, second in line, married to a fitness influencer and keen on launching her own health business. I wasn't particularly impressed by Sloan's performance. However, her character was quite interesting, a neurotic woman with intimacy issues who's desperate to emerge from her father's shadow. Frederick and Tamar Lane are actually the only legitimate children of Roderick, while the other 4 are their half-siblings, each from a different woman. So the eldest 2 mockingly refer to them as the bastards. Tania Minna plays the next Usher, Victorine, who's working on a unique heart device with her partner. This device is still in the animal trial phase, but Frederick puts her on an impossible deadline to move it to human trials. Victorine's gruesome death was the most cleverly done scene in the show. It's horrifying, morbid, and just gratifyingly symbolic. Rahul Kohli was fun as Leo Usher, who makes games and is always high on drugs. He's the Usher family's go-to man for a quick mood fix. Kate Siegel plays the smartest and the flashiest of the Usher siblings. She's Camille, who manages all of Fortunato's media and PR. With stark silver hair, a killer attitude, and 2 minions always by her side, it reminded me of the vampire Alucard from Castlevania. The youngest of the siblings is Perry Usher, portrayed by Sorian Sapkota, who aspires to start a chain of exclusive nightclubs, but doesn't get his father's approval. Sorian's portrayal of Perry is silly and forgettable, which actually aligns with his character's role as the youngest and the least astute of the siblings. Ruth Codd is memorably eccentric in her small cameo as Juno, Frederick's much younger second wife, who's constantly taking the dubious pills manufactured by Fortunato and is often ridiculed as junkie or child bride by the stepkids. The pace of the series is consistently steady, with each episode giving viewers mild chills and major deaths, so expect a lot of blood and gore. What really thrilled me as a horror fan is how Mike Flanagan consistently peppers the runtime with tributes to Edgar Allan Poe. From naming each episode after Poe's work to constantly alluding to his horror stories, The Fall of the House of Usher is a befitting tribute to the Gothic writer. For example, Frederick's first wife is called Annabel Lee, which is also the title of Poe's most famous poem. In fact, Frederick recites the lines of the poem a bunch of times through the series, and I have to admit that I was really excited that the series alluded to one of my favorite short stories by Poe, The Cask of Amontillado. So if you are a Gothic horror fan, I think you would probably like the story too. The final episode, titled The Raven, neatly ties up this horror thriller, with viewers finally getting concrete answers to how Roderick and Madeline made their fortune and just why everybody in their family is dying. And even though the final closing moments of the story won't be a surprise to those who have read The Fall of the House of Usher, I think it was extremely satisfying. I haven't been so happy with the ending of a supernatural story like this in a very long time. For me, The Fall of the House of Usher is a must-watch for horror fans, and you can stream the show on Netflix. That's all from me. Talk to you the next time.